Give the points -4, 2 and 2, -6. Find the distance and midpoint. First, we have to know the distance formula. The distance formula is the distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, where x1, xy1 and x2, y2 are any 2 points. So here we're given -4, 2 and 2, -6. So -4 will be our x1 and 2 will be our x2 and 2 will be y1 and -6 will be y2. So plugging these 2 points into formula, we get the distance equals 2 minus -4 squared plus -6 minus 2 squared. So we have 6 squared plus -8 squared. So we have 36 plus 64, which is the square root of 100. So the answer will be 10. Now the midpoint formula will be given by x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. So here we have x1, which is -4, plus x2, which is 2, over 2, y1, which is 2, plus y2, which is -6 over 2. So by simplifying, we get -2 over 2, which will give us -1, and 2 plus -6, that will give us -4. So -4 over 2 will be -2. So this will be the midpoint. Find the radius and center of the circle and graph it. First, we have to complete the square so that we can have a standard form of the circle. So first, we're going to complete the square for x and y. So first, we're going to take a half of -6, which is -3, and we're going to square it. That will give us 9. So we are adding the 9 on both sides. Then we're going to take a half of 2, that will give us 1. That square equals 1, so that's what we are adding on both sides as well. So y squared plus 2y plus 1, and on the other side add 1 as well. And then we add 6 on both sides, so we can move the -6 on the other side. So we have a positive 6 on the other side. Okay, so we have x squared minus 6x plus 9. That will give us a complete square of x minus 3 squared. And y squared plus 2y plus 1 will give us y plus 1 squared. Now 9 plus 1 plus 6 is 16. So now we have a standard form of the circle. So the center of the circle will be given by 3, comma, -1, since the standard form will be x plus h squared plus y plus k squared equals r squared, where the center is h, -h, comma, -k. So 3, comma, -1 will be the answer. Identify the graph of the following equation. 10x squared plus 10y squared minus 100 equals 0. First, we're going to move the -100 on the other side. So we have 10x squared plus 10y squared equals 100. Then divide both sides by 10. So we have x squared plus y squared equals 10. This is a circle with center 0, 0 and the radius of the square root of 10. So the answer will be a circle. Identify the graph of the following equation. 9x squared plus y minus 9 equals 0. Notice that we have one squared term, which is x squared, and a one first degree term. So this is going to be parabola. To ensure our answer, you can subtract 9x squared and add 9 on both sides. So we have y equals -9x squared plus 9. This is a parabola formula, which is y equals x minus h squared plus k. This is the standard form of a parabola. Identify the graph of the following equation. 9x squared equals 16y squared plus 144. First, we're going to move 16y squared on the other side. So we have 9x squared minus 16y squared equals 144. Then we're going to divide both sides by 144. So we have x squared over 16 minus y squared over 9 equals 1. So this is same as x squared over 4 squared minus y squared over 3 squared equals 1. This is hyperbola. Since the standard form of the hyperbola is x squared minus over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. Give the equation of the asymptotes and graph the hyperbolas. X squared over 16 minus y squared over 25 equals 1. First, 16 is 4 squared, so we know that a squared is 4 squared, so the a will be 4. And 25 is 5 squared, so that will be our b squared, so our b equals 5. Now 4 is corresponds to the x value, so we go to the right by 4 and to the left by 4. And 5 will corresponds to y, so that'll go up by 5 and go down by 5. So now we can have a rectangular looking box, so we can draw our asymptotes on a diagonal. So our asymptote is given by y equals plus minus b over a. So the answer will be plus minus 5 over 4. And that's these two lines. Now, since x squared comes first, you know that this graph is going to be a horizontal hyperbola. So our a is 4, so we go to the left by 4 and to the right by 4. This will give us the x-intercepts. So our graph should look like this. Give the equation of the asymptote and graph the hyperbola. Y squared over 49 minus x squared over 81 equals 1. Now, since we have y squared over b squared minus x squared over a squared equals 1, it's going to be a vertical hyperbola. So first, we're going to identify a and b. 49 is b squared, so the b equals 7. 81 will be a squared, so a will be 9. The asymptote equation will be given by y equals plus minus b over a, so it will be 7 over 9. So first, we're going to draw the asymptote. So we go up by 7 and down by 7 and go to left by 9 and go to the right by 9, and we plot the corners of the rectangles, so we can have a rectangular box, so we can draw an asymptote. So now the b is 7, so we go up by 7 and go down by 7, and we know our graph will be a vertical hyperbola, so it's going to be the two arcs that go up and down. Looks like that. Given f of x equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 6, express the function in standard form f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus f plus k. Find x-intercept, y-intercept, and the vertex. Find the axis of symmetry and graph the function. F of x equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 6. First, we're going to factor out the 2, so we have 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 3. So to complete the square, we're going to take a half of 2 and put in the parentheses with x, so x plus 1, and we raise the power squared. And then we're going to subtract the square of the first 1, so it will be negative 1, and add the last 3. So we have 2 times x plus 1 squared plus 2. So this is a standard form of the function. Now to find x-intercept, we're going to set y equals 0. So y, which is f of x equals 0, equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 6. And divide both sides by 2, we get 0 equals x squared plus 2x plus 3. By factoring, we get x plus 1. Actually, we cannot factor that equation, so we have to use the quadratic equation formula. So we have x equals negative 2 plus minus b squared, which is 4, minus 4 times a times c, which is 3, over 2a. So notice that when you calculate this, we get negative 8 inside the square root. So that means that we cannot have a real point for x-intercepts. So we know there's going to be no x-intercepts. So to find y-intercept, the y-intercept, we just have to look at where x equals 0. So when x equals 0, the function becomes 2 times 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 6. So the answer is 6. A vertex is read from the standard form, which is 2 times x plus 1 squared plus 2. So vertex will be negative 1, which is the opposite of the positive 1, comma 2, which is the one outside. So now we're ready to graph. So vertex is negative 1, comma 2. So we'll be negative 1 and up by 2. And y-intercept will be 0, comma 6. So we go up by 6. That will be the y-intercept. And axis of symmetry will be just the x-coordinate of the vertex. So the x equals negative 1 will be the axis of symmetry. So you know the parabola will look like that. Notice that we do not have x-intercept because the parabola goes upward and the vertex is above the 0. Determine whether the graph opens up, down, left, or right. H of x equals negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. Since we have function that is of x, function of x, we know the graph will go up or down. And since the a is negative 2, which is less than 0, the graph will open down. Determine whether the graph opens up, down, left, or right. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 4. Notice that the function, this equation is a function of x. So the graph will open up or down. So it's not going to be left or right. Now we're going to look at the a, which is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. Since a is greater than 0, we know that the graph will open up. Determine whether the graph opens up, down, left, or right. Notice that the equation is a function of y. So the graph of the parabola will go to left or right. Now we're going to look at the coefficient of y squared, which is a equals 1. Since 1 is greater than 0, the graph will open right. Find an equation of a circle with a center at 6, negative 4 and a radius 4. Graph the circle. The standard form of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where the center is h, k, and r is the radius. So by plugging in, we have x minus 6 squared plus y minus negative 4 squared equals 4 squared. So x minus 6 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 16. Now we're going to graph the circle. X equals the center equals 6, negative 4. So we go to the right by 6 and go down by 4. And from that center, we're going to 4 units all around the point. So we go up by 4 and go to left by 4 and go down by 4 and go to the right by 4 to get 4 points on the circle, and we're going to connect these 4 points and form a circle. Solve the system of equations. X squared plus y equals 4. Y equals x squared plus 2. Since the second equation is already solved for y, we're going to plug x squared plus 2 into the y in the first equation. So we have x squared plus 2 equals 4. So 2x squared plus 2 equals 4. So by subtracting 2 from both sides, we have 2x squared equals 2. So x squared equals 1. So x must be plus minus the square root of 1, which is plus minus 1. So x is either plus 1 or negative 1. So we're going to find y when x equals negative 1. So y equals negative 1 squared plus 2, which is 1 plus 2, which is 3. And when x equals 1, y is also 3, since y squared plus 2 equals 3. So there are two answers. One is 1, 3, and the other one is negative 1, 3. Graph the ellipse by finding its center and vertices. X squared over 16 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. 16 is a squared, so a will be 4. 25 is b squared, so b squared equals 25, so b should be 5. So the center is 0, 0. Since we do not have any numbers with x squared and y squared. Note that the standard form of the ellipse will be x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1, where h, k is the center. So since we don't see h and k, we assume there is 1 and there is 0. So the center equals 0, 0. So the vertices will be, from the center, we go to left by 4 and right by 4, and up by 5 and down by 5. So we have 0, 4, and actually 4, 0, and negative 4, 0 for the x-axis, and we have 0, 5, and 0, negative 5. So we go to the right by 4 and to the left by 4 and go up to 5 and down by 5, and the center is the origin. So after connecting these 4 points, we should get an ellipse. Graph the ellipse by finding its center and vertices. Here we have a center of 5, negative 3, where 5 is from the x and y is from the opposite of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right and go down by 3. This will be our center. And notice that a squared equals 9, so a equals 3. And b squared equals 4, so the b must be 2. So first, to find the vertices, we're going to add b to -3 and subtract b from -3 to get the vertical vertices. So we have 5 comma -3 plus 2, which will give us 5 comma -1. And the second one will be 5 comma -3 minus 2, so that will give us 5 comma -5. So these are the points that are on top of the center and the bottom of the center. Now we're going to find the horizontal vertices. So we have 5 minus 3 comma -3, which is 2 comma -3, and 5 plus 3 comma -3. So basically we are adding and subtracting a's for horizontal vertices, and we add and subtracting b's for vertical vertices. So we have 8 comma -3 for the other one. So we have 2 comma -3 and 8 comma -3. So now we're going to connect these 4 points to get an ellipse.